Joseph Doc Marquis has It's a God Thing Productions. Very hard to find. He passed away, I guess, last year or very recently. I'm very upset about his death, Gunderson, so many this last couple of years. I first heard about him, I'm going to just say up front, he said Leninism will be how Satan comes. And it's interesting, I say what the difference is. I had known nothing about Marxism, Leninism, but I think Leninism only means, the difference is, by any means necessary. So this is why I'm trying to look into this thing in every aspect, and I'm seeing things coming out of the woodwork, like by any means necessary. You see? So I want to just, my testimony, I suppose you might say, just a part of it, is I grew up in the 80s. Well, I was a child in the 70s, a young teen in the 80s. There was a lot of Satanism, satanic panic. It was real, and I was a partier because of whatever reasons. That was my path. I like to join the people that party, and I loved the music and stuff. But my mother became a Pentecostal Christian after my parents divorced and forced, so I read the whole Bible myself at the age of 12. And I was walking a parallel existence. Anyway, the reason why I know about that is because we partied a lot in the bush out in the Lower Mainland. This is where the Clifford Olson murders were, and Dorothy Stratton. There was a lot of opportunities. And this guy, Doc Marquis, was on Oprah Winfrey in 1987, and it was a panel of Satanists. And he was a reformed, high-ranking witch from one of the oldest families from the 1600s. So, and then he came out. He became a Christian finally, because some Christians in the army were praying for him like crazy, and he did. But he said the word Illuminati the first time I ever heard it. But he basically said that any witch, doesn't matter who they are, it's like being in a pyramid. They don't know what they're worshiping until you get to the top, and that's the Illuminati. So, or whoever these people are. So that's when I first heard it, and I even ordered the transcript from the Oprah Winfrey Show back in 1987. Now, the reason why I say that is because in the early 80s, in the news, there was always accounts of satanic ritual abuse or human sacrifice. There was one on our local news about a human sacrifice that was canceled because as the people were in their circle in the house, the man said that a voice came out of him, and he said it was like a trumpet, and it said, "Put the swords down and let them go." And everybody dropped their swords and they ran. So that was in our local regular news, whatever the news was, CTV or something. We never called it global until the globalism came in. And this is by any means necessary is what I'm trying to say. After that incident, around the same time as Terry Fox was running, I'll never forget, because I was in Coquitlam and later I went to the school that Terry Fox went to. This is weird. I feel like I was zeitgeist. But while he was doing his marathon, Terry Fox, the famous Canadian, the McChicken came out that summer. That's why I'll never forget. And there's a lot of things that happened. But in the news stories, there was always stories of a war between the battle against the Christians and the Satanists. It was on. And we thought it was kind of neat. It was kind of like a cartoon or He-Man or something. But what happened was the news and the police decided that they're not allowed to report this anymore. Especially the wins by the Christians. They're not allowed to report it because satanic ritual abuse is not to be told about because for whatever reason it's almost like the Anti-Defamation League of the Satanists. So this is all I'm going to say today. This is all I'm going to say maybe for a while. But I just wanted to say that this guy said Leninism. Leninism, the difference between Leninism and Marxism to me is Lenin is by any means necessary.